They've spent the summer dreaming about getting back on the track, thinking of how they could improve on last year, and remembering who they have to pay back. And now it's the time to make it all right, around one of the toughest circuits they'll take on all season. It's on. Kim James off in the fence and around he goes. You look at Harris, last corner.
Oh, Noonan around into the turn.
He gets cleaned up on the way through. Oh, bang. It feels like trouble is brewing. It's round one of the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. Well, it's hard to believe that it's been 12 years since the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series first roared into life here on the streets of Adelaide in 2001. It's come a long way since then. The cars are 10 seconds a lap faster, but the racing is still aggressive and tight. There's 16 Fords and 16 Holdens. It's a full field and one of the most popular support categories at the V8 Supercars Championship events. It all begins again for 2013 here today. There's familiar names, the likes of Ryle Harris. The reigning champion looks to go back-to-back this year. Then there's a whole host of rookies making their debut in both the V8 Ute Series and here on this tough Clipsal track.
In all, there will be 7 rookies among the new faces joining the series full-time, including former Dunlop Series driver Elliot Barber and Shannon Supercar Showdown winner Jesse Dixon. The newcomers don't have to look far for inspiration. Last year, Chris Walton won on his debut at the track, then went on to win the Rookie of the Year title.
If you can win here, it's a good start to the year. It gives you a lot of confidence to keep going through the year. And it's a good starting point because you know where everyone's sort of sitting, the speed they got, how well they can drive the cars around. So if you can do good here and then carry it, you're well on your way.
Last year's runner-up in the championship, David Cedars, also has an impressive record at Adelaide.
I debuted here, as most rookies do, and I was on pole, and this pesky new rookie turned up and he's on pole, then won the round, and everyone didn't like me after that. Not many people talked to me.
The young drivers may need to look out for an experienced campaigner, with 2-time Bathurst winner Tony Longhurst ready to give the regulars a shake-up. And preparing for his 300th race, Gary Baxter has renewed enthusiasm and could spring a surprise.
With the car going so well, we've got this new engine which is absolutely flying. The car's handling magnificently. I don't know, I could do another 300.
Ex-V8 supercar driver Nathan Pretty was in the hunt for the title last year and will leave nothing to chance in the search for success this time around.
More hungry, I guess, been for 2 years in it. But now the 3rd year, I've got to really go for broke, and I'll be putting the elbows out from now, round 1. Let's bring it on.
Ryle Harris used a successful mix of aggression and point scoring to win last year's championship, but knows he'll have his work cut out if he's to go back-to-back.
I think everyone's probably lifted their game in the off-season, but you know, we're pretty confident with the package we've got. Adelaide have been on the podium the last 3 years here, I think, so, you know, obviously we've got a long year ahead, so same thing again, just use my head, but, you know, elbows out at the same time.
No one knows just who will leave round 1 on top and have a head start in the race towards this year's championship. But one thing's for certain, it's a brand new year, and lining up on the grid for race 1 will be 16 Ford and 16 Holdens ready to rumble.
Don't move a muscle. Season 2013 for the V8 Utes is about to start after the break on the streets of Adelaide. Cars on the grid, ready to go. First race of 2013, and the Milwaukee Power Tools Commodore of Nathan Pretty has taken pole position for the opening round of the championship. And would you believe it, he's won races in this series, but Pretty has never claimed the Armour All Pole Award until now. He picks up $1,000. Not sure about the hat selection though, James Moffat.
He looks like he's about ready to go fishing, not ready to saddle up on pole position for the opening round of the V8 Utes this year.
I think he's going fishing for a race win. That's what he's doing. Let's have a look at the way that they line up for race 1. David Cedars will be on the front row of the grid. He's got a sensational record on the streets of Adelaide. 3 poles in the last few years. Elliot Barber on debut and has qualified 3rd.
fastest rookie, so fantastic job for him. Jesse Dixon, the Shannon's winner from last year, he's off row 8 alongside the veteran Charlie O'Brien.
Finished third here in a BMW in 1985. I think we're about 2 between us. But have a look at the list. It keeps running. Charlie Kovacs Jr. starts from 24th. Troy Dontis, he and twin brother Craig competing this weekend. Matthew Nolan, former Australian jet ski champion, swaps to the V8 Utes. It's going to be choppy. It's race 1 of 2013. Cedars is a little slow away. Kim Jane has got the great start, but he's got nowhere to go.
Kimbo, he started the year off fantastically well, but it's Cedars who can't carry that momentum into turn 1, and Pretty leads the field into turn 4 for the first time. Amazed that we got all 32 Utes through the centre chicane.
Settle, James. We haven't got them through the first lap yet, mate. This is a little bit disastrous. It's nose to tail. Down at turn 4, we're looking at Jack Elsgood in the Fuchs Falcon. That's Ryan Hansford to the right. And that's contact. We're on board with Craig Donnis. Vogue Financial in-car. It's really busy in this opening lap. Out in front, though, Nathan Pretty leads the way. David Cedars leads the chasers. A little bit of a margin back there already from those two. Kim Jane, Gary Baxter, veterans of the Ute category, now back on board with Craig Donnis, lining up a move on Elliot Barber.
So Barber, he started off P3, so he's had a bad start, but these V8 Utes into turn 8 for the first time. They move around through there, but Dontis, he's having a look up the inside, but so is Barber. So up the inside of Elsgood into the hairpin. New colours for Elsgood on that Falcon this year.
And Jack's a former round winner here back in 2007. Oh, the car park's beginning. Everyone's wide at turn 9. But I've got to say, for the first race of the season, for the first lap, not too bad.
We've only seen a bit of elbows out style racing, so we need to give these boys a bit of a brief. We expect more from these guys.
On board, NZ in-car, Chris Walton, the round winner here on the streets of Adelaide last year, Rookie of the Year. He slipped last year. He really faded in the second half of the year. Finished 7th in the championship. But it's Nathan Pretty who leads the way. This Commodore just looks fantastic. New colours for season 2013. And lots of good young drivers coming into this category who are going to really spice it up this year. But at the moment, the veterans are going well. Jane, Baxter, Gary in his 300th all-time Ute race start. He says he's going to give it away at the end of the year, but why should he when he's running at the front?
Well, if he keeps going like this, he might have to change his mind. He's got the reigning series champion and Ryle Harris right behind him, so he's doing a good job so far in this opening race.
On board, Andrew Fisher, Jesus Falcon. They've worked hard in the off-season to put together the program to be here. The X-Force in-car as he chases Craig Donnis. This is Adam Marjoram in the Auto 1 Commodore. He's in this car for the full season. They're not running the wildcard entry that we saw last year. Adam's a young emerging rookie, 19 years of age from Perth, but he's in the pits, and Cedars is already starting to apply the pressure to the Milwaukee Commodore.
Kim Jane trying to buy in on the action too up the front of the field. So solid start from all these guys, but Cedars, he certainly has form around the streets of Clipsal. Has always been strong in that Falcon, and he'll definitely be doing all he can to get by Pretty.
This is still going. Fisher just about pushing Dontis on the run back into the racecourse section. Fisher's had great history here. He was on the podium last year. He was second in 2010. He's came for a move. He's not quite in the gap though there, but he looks like he's got pace.
And Dontis was awake to it there. Went slightly defensive into turn 14, the last corner on this Adelaide Parkland circuit. But Fisher, he's certainly hungry to get past that thirsty Commodore.
And Dontis had one of those weird things happen in qualifying. He hit the fence. That's not weird. Oh, he's got a drama here, though, running wide on the exit of the chicane. He actually had the steering wheel come off in his hand in qualifying. Not a good look.
Certainly not a pleasant feeling around the concrete canyon that this is at Clipsal, but Fisher, he'll be happy to see the back of Dontis now. He's got some clear road. He'll be concentrating on some nice, clean laps and extending that gap.
This part of the circuit is all 90-degree turns, left and right. It's all about rhythm and flow, and Craig Donnis has got flow. Unfortunately, it's overflowed down to turn 4 in the escape road in the thirsty Camel Commodore. Now, maybe there was some contact here that has caused a drama. He's through there okay, so there's clearly something else going on.
Maybe that's the contact with Adam Marjoram in the Auto 1 Ute. So that's possibly why we see him in pit lane now.
Have a look back here. The Black Falcon, Ryle Harris, reigning champion, is through to third. Kim Jane next to the queue. He's hit the tyre bundle. He's off the road. He's in the fence, and he bounces back.
Watch
in the
out.
middle. Left, right, get away, get away, get out of there. Oh, he escapes. He was so lucky. Elliot Barber did a great job, nearly ploughed straight into the back of the Bob Jane T-Marts Commodore, but that car's jumped.
That is not the way you want to start off your championship. So we'll have to have a replay. Thumbs up from Kimbo, so he's all right, which is good to see. A lot of contact with that tyre wall and big damage. So was there a bit of contact from the back here? Oh, yeah, there was, but Kimbo was already starting to lose it. And a bit of experience here. He knew that he was in trouble, tried to get it off the racing line as quick as he could.
And this is what he's done. Left front hits the tyre bundle. There it is. It's broken the left front steering, so the car lands. It's already out of control. Such was the air. Walton's innocent there. That's not his fault.
Yeah, Kimbo was going to be out of the race anyway. He just probably got a bit more damage than what he would have liked to have. But disappointing for him to start the year off in this fashion.
The car has swapped preparation in the off-season to Williams Race Tech. Wayne Williams and the crew have plenty of work to do. The safety car is out on the streets of Adelaide. Kim Jane is a retirement. We're going to restart when we come back. We're back off and running. It's a dash to the checkered flag in the first race of the first round of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Just 2 laps to run. And it's all about chasing down Nathan Pretty and getting through that first chicane where there's plenty of clean-up material from Kim Jane's crash.
But Pretty, he's done a perfect job so far. Obviously, as we spoke about, drama's here.
Troy Donis in the fence, and judging by the left front damage, I reckon he's done a Kim Jane. I reckon he's got the tyre bundle and it's damaged the steering and he's pulled out. So that'll turn that section into a yellow flag area. No passing around there.
Which is actually critical because you need to be able to set up your pass into turn 4 by getting a good run through turn 1 and 2. And look at Cedars though, he is right on the back of Pretty in the Milwaukee Commodore. He's going to have a look up the inside in the hairpin, but Pretty, deep under brakes, holds him off so far.
And Cedars has to be careful because the reigning champion Ryle Harris is ready to drive through the door if he leaves it open now. Just hearing from race control, this one will be just cut 1 lap short. So if you don't get Nathan now, you never will.
And the pressure certainly is on Pretty. He's got 3 Falcons breathing down his neck. Can one of them pull a move into the last corner?
Well, we're about to find out. Here we go. Final turn. Checkered flag awaits. Harris is the one. He's the one making the lunge. He shoves Cedars out of the way. He stole the championship from him last year. He steals second from him. He's beaten him up already. Pretty takes race 1 and claims Holden's first Ute race win here on the streets of Adelaide since 2011.
What a finish, though. Great move by Ryle Harris in the last corner. Probably caught David Cedars a bit unaware there, and he slipped through for second, but still plenty of action in the opening race of the Auto 1 V8 Utes. Replay here of Dontis into the tyre wall, basically where Kim Jane went in.
I reckon he'll need some rare spares as well for that Commodore because it's hit the wall pretty hard. His brother Craig, though, had a tough run too. He ended up down the escape road and was classified 29th. Pretty wins from Harris, Cedars, Walton, Baxter. The rookies were in there too. Elliot Barber, the best of them, 7th, and Ryan Hansford rounds out the top 10.
Well, Nathan, you wanted the Holdens to dominate here. It's been a Ford track and you've done it.
Yeah, look, it's awesome. The guys have done a fantastic job, really, and culminating right through from the start of the year back at the workshop and all the rest of it. And we've been working pretty hard and had a couple of test days for a change before coming here. And, you know, with the parity side of things, it's actually... It helps us a lot, yeah.
This year's series has attracted 7 rookies from various backgrounds who quickly need to get a handle on racing these V8 Utes.
I come straight from Formula Ford and about the only one in the whole field that's never driven a tin top till the first session just then. You just got to get the weight over the front wheels and get it to turn and then get on the power.
Came from Porsche GT3 Cup last year. Big tyres, wings, aerodynamics, into a Ute with, you know, semi-slick tyres. I'm also going to be racing on street circuits like Adelaide this year, and that's massive, you know. Lower grip, and there's walls everywhere, and you've got to try and avoid them.
I've Formula Ford and DVS last year. You're always on your game in these because you're always chasing them, you're always sliding. So they're a lot of hard work, so it's actually been harder than what I thought it would be. They definitely make you work for it.
Some newcomers have spent time behind the scenes working with teams as mechanics or engineers. Armed with inside technical knowledge, it might just give them an edge.
I've learned a lot about the cars, just being a part of it, and a lot about the data and the onboard footage, and and pretty much how to extract the most speed out of a race car at any track.
One of the biggest things is actually having good feedback about what the car's doing on the track. So trying to get that right balance of the car, front to rear, side to side, making sure that all of the suspension settings are sort of working the way they're supposed to and working towards your style of driving.
Can make the car come off the turn real good, but it might understeer going in, and everything's a compromise, and every action has a reaction, and just trying to find that fine balance in the car, but talking about and doing it is certainly another thing.
Matthew Nolan is a world away from his former profession as a jet ski racer, where he was ranked top 6 in the world.
The hardest thing for the utes, I think, is going to be my start position. In the jet ski race, we start like a motocross, so we start all in a straight line, and it's first to the first turn. So yeah, starting back, anywhere back off the front line is going to be very different for me. So yeah, trying to come through traffic when I can is going to be the hard thing.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
Time for race 2 of the weekend, and it's the reverse grid race. So Nathan Pretty was given the task of picking out the number. He drew number 9, so he goes to 9th. Pole position goes to Jesse Dixon in the Heyman Reese Commodore. Ryan Hansford starts alongside, but James, a few penalties handed out. Ryle Harris was pinged 10 spots for that last corner move on David Cedars in race 1. I'm a bit surprised.
And so am I, Noons. I thought that was a pretty good move by Ryle. He caught Cedars clearly napping into the last corner. There was a bit of rubbing, but hey, that's what we've come to love about V8 Ute racing, isn't it?
I've seen some far harsher moves made. David Cedars was also penalised, not for that incident. You see him there. He starts 26th. He was pinged for passing under yellow flags, which is a no-no, slap wrist. Don't pass under yellow flags wherever you are. Kim Jane is out for the weekend. That car is too badly damaged. So Ryan Hansford and Jesse Dixon on the front row, Andrew Fisher and Jack Ellsgood on row 2, Elliot Barber and Reece McNally in the Stratco Commodore start from row 3. This race of all on a weekend is usually the spicy one because you've got fast guys coming through. Barber looked like he missed a gear there, and Walton, who is noted for making up lots of ground in these races, already pounces.
But it's Dixon who leads the field through the centre chicane for the first time and on the run-up Wakefield Street into turn 4. So far, so good. But here we go, Jared McLeod up the inside.
And a car swap for Jared in the off-season. That's the ex-Chris Pither Ice Break Coffee Commodore from a couple of years ago. He's had 2 test days. He says, we are 200% better prepared than this time last year. How about Walton trying to get down the inside on Gary Baxter? Hansford shoving Jesse Dixon. We've only got to lap 1.
Oh, and that still goes on with Walton and Baxter. Run very wide onto the back, straight out of turn 7. But have a look at these utes. Just straight over the exit curb.
You wouldn't go doing that in your Norton Nissan Ultima, would you?
Certainly no way to treat a Nissan Ultima, but these V8 utes are built for it. And have a look at Fisher now up the inside into the hairpin on Hansford.
Oh, and
Walton, big lunge up the inside.
Through on McNally, Hansford wide, he's up over the curb and the car's buck and dive there just trying to get back onto the road. But what that allows is young Jesse Dixon to skip away. Now this is the ex-Warren Millett car and the Wake Up crew, and with Jesse, remember, yes, he won the Shannon Supercar Showdown last year and made his V8 debut at Bathurst. That's Rhett Noonan. No relation to me. If he wins, he will be. But have a look at this. It's already on. Walton gets into the back of Hansford. It's his teammate.
Walton is certainly not mucking around in this race. He is into it from the get-go, and he's already progressed up through the field very nicely after the opening lap. But it's still Dixon who leads the field. Ryle Harris coming through as well after that penalty that we spoke about at the beginning of the race.
And Walton is charging. He's picked up 4 spots on the opening lap. Have a look back through the order. Jared McLeod, Cam Wilson in car 14. We've seen him run last year on the Gold Coast. First up race win, remember there. He's been an engineer for the Big Gun team in the past. Now he's behind the wheel and getting stuck into it. Walton and Hansford are into it again. McNally's down the inside. Ellsgood's down the inside. If race 1 was a little bit pedestrian, race 2's gone off.
They have certainly stepped up for race 2, and teammates getting into it. Walton and Hansford definitely not afraid. Be an interesting debrief in the truck art for this race, I think.
Interesting? I reckon awkward.
Have a look at Fisher now. He's attacking Dixon under brakes into the hairpin. Not quite enough.
Yes,
but Dixon runs wide. So hands the Jesus Falcon the lead of the race. But look at the action back a bit further in the pack. It's angry back here, Noons.
Walton's got damage to the number plate, the front headlight. It's just another day at the office, really, when you're charging through in a reverse grid V8 ute race. But it's Andrew Fisher who leads the way. Remember, the Jesus car run by the Cedars team. Dixon second, Walton third, then McNally, who, I've got to say, last year really impressed me. He did a good, solid job. 6th in 2012 in the championship. He was one of the most consistent Holden runners.
Oh.
The guys have gone nuts.
Jeremy Gray, round he goes. He's causing all types of chaos further back in the field. Looks at, he's definitely got damage to the front of that car, so he's out of this race. Cam Wilson's in the thick of things. We don't know where to watch at this point in time.
I'm gobsmacked. Race control, I don't think it can fit all of these drivers in at one time when they all get hauled there after this race.
And Cedars, he's trying to find his way through all this mess as safely as he can. Oh, goodness me, what is going on with these guys?
Charlie Kovacs Jr. there, and that's Grant Bromley in the HTA I-Seat car down the escape road, and it's still going. Danny Brzadzik, he's got damage to the front of his car. There'll be no one left.
This is more like a demo derby, Noons, that you get at the end of a speedway night rather than a reverse grid ute race. Have a look at this action. This is Walton, replay on Chucky Baxter. Contact at turn 6. Then he tries to send it up the inside at turn 7. Carts Baxter wide. He's wide himself, up over the curb.
Now this is the one that will be concerned. Teammate on teammate. Both run by the Rod Dawson team, and then he does it again.
Oh, have a look at the car control by Hansford, though. Holds onto that somehow.
That could have been in the fence. It could have been facing the opposite direction. And then this one, Jeremy Gray gets unloaded, gets tangled up, gets a tank slapper, hits Cam Wilson. And you know the funny thing?
This is nuts, News.
And this was another one. Kovacs Jr. moves across, but he moves into Bromley. So that's a hand slap for the South Australian, I'm afraid.
What's going to happen next in this race? Now, Pretty, he's been able to keep his nose clean so far. We're only halfway through the race, mind you, but now he runs wide after trying to put a pass on Jack Elsgood. And Elsgood keeps that position on Pretty. Baxter, after coming under fire from Walton at the start of the race, he's slotted in nicely behind our race 1 winner, but it's Fisher. He's got the best spot in the house at the moment. He's out front. He's looking in his mirrors, probably having a laugh, seeing all this action happen behind him.
Fisher is in the safest place. We are too. You are at home. Stay with us. More action from the Utes from the streets of Adelaide. Race 2 continues when we come back. We've had a lie down in the commercial break. We're back with race 2 on the streets of Adelaide with the Auto 1 V8 Utes. It has been the craziest Ute race we've seen in a long time, James Moffat, and this man in the black Renko Falcon, Chris Walton, has helped contribute somewhat.
Hey, what's going on, Nudes? He's just made a pass on Jesse Dixon, and he hasn't managed to hit him, so whilst I've been a bit of a fan of Chris Walton in the past, he's probably gone a little over the edge in some of his moves in today's race. Be interesting to see if the stewards have anything to say about it afterwards.
Ford Spare Parts Division is rubbing their hands together because he needs a grille, a headlight, a bumper, a tray, a new chassis. Might even help too.
He's certainly beaten up that Falcon, that's for sure, but we've got another car in the fence here. Can't quite pick up who it is at the moment. We've got a replay.
Oh, this is Matthew Nolan, the jet ski star who has got it loose on the exit of the chicane. He had about 4 goes at saving it. He didn't. He's in the fence. He's done.
Welcome to V8 Ute Racing.
Have a look at McNally. He's down the inside too, trying to get a move on Jesse Dixon for 3rd place, and he will get it done. Or will he? He's on the wrong side for the chicane. Ryan Hansford lined up ready to go. Elsgood's behind. Nathan Pretty, race 1 winner in that black and red Commodore, has been watching this all go on. These two are not going to lift.
Oh, this is ugly.
Blokes go straight through the chicane. No one wants to yield.
And there'll be a yellow flag up here for that crash car of Nolan, so wisely McNally gets out of that, and Dixon manages to hold on, but Elsgood, he's gone straight on at turn 4, manages just to stay out of the tyres. So mistake there from the former series champion. He'll be kicking himself.
And Pretty was the one who invited the error because he was down the inside and Jack was just in too deep trying to outbrake the Milwaukee Commodore. This is turn 8.
Oh, just a bit of mirror departing from the car, or was that headlight? No, it's the
there it goes.
headlights
Yep,
said it's had
there it
enough.
goes.
Thank you, Chris, but I'm departing.
That's one way to save on weight, but with all that weight saved, he's closing in. Have a look at the front of this thing. It's been absolutely massacred. He's
Looks
hit
like
just,
something out of Mad Max or something, Noons.
he's
But
hit just about everybody and everything, but he's still charging towards the front.
he certainly has great pace on in this race. And with 2 laps to go, the lead is certainly not settled.
I've got to say, James, that we were surprised by the penalty applied to Ryle Harris for that move on Cedars in race 1. If he got 10 spots for that, what do you reckon Walton gets for the hit on Hansford and some of the other stuff?
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what the stewards have to say about it after the race, but certainly he has made position with contact to other cars, which is always a bit of a no-no. Whilst we always encourage good, close, hard racing and a bit of, biff and barge in the V8 utes, just driving to the back of people is not really on, but have a look at him. He's having a bit of a look up the inside.
He's got a good sniff of this, doesn't he? He's really in there, hustling the back of Andrew Fisher in that Jesus Falcon. A look back now towards the Redco Ford from on top, the X-Force in-car, or well, on-car really, isn't it?
And what he'll be trying to do is get a mega run through turn 8, which he has. Fisher had to get out of the throttle, and Walton now up the inside, into the hairpin. All he has to do is pull the car up, and he's going to get into the lead of this second reverse grid race. What a drive from Walton.
He started position 8. It's taken him 7 laps, or just about 7 laps, and he's got through the lead, and he and Andrew Fisher are miles in front of the rest of them. He's going to be hard to stop from here. Look at the margin. Wait, there's someone in the background. Jesse Dixon, I think, still is third. He and McNally are still side by side again. These young blokes, they just don't know when to stop.
So they've been going at it for a couple of laps now. And McNally will be getting frustrated now. He's clearly faster than Dixon, but he can't find a way cleanly past. And this is about the cleanest move we've seen from Walton. Oh, no, he got the back of Fisher.
You spoke too early. He just tagged the left rear on the way through. This is Todd Zanni, the West Aussie, going around and off. And where is he going? Rare Spares replay shows it all. He'll get running again, but
Kovacs
Charlie
Jr.
Kovacs Jr. will not. He is buried in the fence at turn 11. So last lap, turn 8 for the final time. Have a look at the pack behind. Dixon, Hansford, McNally, Pretty. I reckon Walton, if he just survives turn 9, this next corner, he won't be stopped.
And he's certainly ruffled a few feathers in this race. Going to be interesting to see the post-race reaction to some of his driving, but still he's had a fast car. And, oh, look, Hansford's got through on McNally, so he showing a bit of his frustration, just gives the back of that Falcon.
Now, yellow flags here. That's why Walton slows. Fisher made up ground there. He actually made contact. And I don't like contact under yellow flags. It's not good at all. But they've managed to get through there and get it done. So, final turn, a lock-up just for good measure from Chris Walton. Well, put it this way. He spiced it up. He certainly has added some fruit to the V8 Ute Series.
Oh, gives it a bit of a wave.
Gives a little wave and crosses the line. He claims race 2. Fisher home in second. Dixon is best of the Commodores in third, and I reckon that sets the tone for 2013. Every race has to be as good as that one.
Certainly was a cracking race, and plenty of entertainment in it for sure. And Walton, he won here at Clipsal last year, so he's back on that winning form here in the streets of Adelaide.
Race 1 winner Nathan Pretty played it conservative. He got to 6th. Harris next from Baxter. Charlie O'Brien, the veteran, in 9th, and David Cedars pushed his way through from 26th to 10th. Craig Donis did some charging as well. He went from 29th and finished 15th.
Chris Walton started at 8th and you just picked them off right to the end.
Yeah, it was great. The car was great. The Renko car was awesome. It's been great all weekend. We knew we had 8 laps. We had 8 cars to pass. We just had to do one a lap and we did it, so it was good.
Yeah, you left yourself not much time in the end there. Andrew Fisher, he was a hard one to get past, but you just bided your time and got him.
No, Andrew's always a hard one to get past, but we had 2 laps to do it in. He made an error on the exit of turn 8, which helped me, so it just gave me the win.
Stay with us. We'll dig into the spare parts division and get these things repaired. Race 3, the final from the streets of Adelaide, when we come back. Well, there's no doubt about it. The V8 Utes have been back with a bang. The final race of the weekend, 8 laps for race 3. Combined points determine the grid for this one. So Nathan Pretty and Andrew Fisher start up the front. One man that's not at the front, though, James Moffat, is Chris Walton. He was pinged 10 positions for that race 2 bump pass on Ryan Hansford. He'll start 7th in this race, so he's got to do it all over again and pass more cars.
Well, he certainly proved in race 2 that he's not afraid to lean on guys to get the job done. David Cedars coming off row 8 out of position 15. He'll be fast in this race.
Wayne Wakefield had a run in Utes last season. He's back. He starts from 21st on the grid. Stephen White, too, has been in the Utes before. Former Holden Young Lion and open wheel driver driving the Dunlop Super Dealer Commodore this weekend, with Simon Wills, the former V8 Development Series champ, on engineering duty. So, final race of the weekend, Holden and Ford, Pretty and Fisher. Let's get it running down to the first chicane. Let's see if there's any action left up or if we spend it all in race 2.
Great start by Fisher. He's going to have the line into turn 1. But no, Pretty holds on around the outside.
Oh, there goes one. Right in the middle of the pack. Oh, Rhett Noonan got cleaned up by another of the rookies. Richard Bloomfield just couldn't get through there without making contact. There's more debris. It started again.
Lucky not to have more carnage, though, with a car facing the wrong way at turn 1 on the opening lap.
On board with Elliot Barber, and if you're wondering, hang on a minute, they're Kim Jane's sponsors. This is the camera from Kim's car. He's politely decided to do a swap. We've stuck it into Elliot's car, and he's doing a really good job. Ran in the Dunlop Series last year for the Minder Motorsport team, has been in Formula Ford in the past. He's done a bit of Touring Car Masters, but has adapted to the Ute really well.
And he's chasing Ryle Harris, a reigning series champion, so...
You mentioned Ryle Harris. He was in the fence.
He just about gave us our wall cam through turn 8 a bit of a tickle there with the rear end of that tap-out Falcon.
I tell you what, it wasn't tap-out. It was nearly a submission manoeuvre. Turn 9's a car park usually here. I hear tyres, I hear squealing. I bet you there was grief somewhere. Nathan Pretty's got no grief. He leads the way. Andrew Fisher second, McNally third. Gary Baxter having a really, really good run on his home track. He's been in this series since 2002. Only Jack Elsgood's been around longer. If there's any tricks to driving these things, he knows them.
He certainly does. And a bit of a stalwart of the category, as you mentioned. 300 races this weekend, so a mega effort for Chucky to achieve that many race wins. But trouble here again.
Troy Dontis.
He's in the wall.
He's got the other side this time. He had the left front earlier on, and now he's done the right front. Replay of the opening lap. Someone gets hit. There's the contact.
So Noel Edge into the back of Rhett Noonan.
It's never good when you appear on our curb cam sideways.
And here we go. Here's the damage to Dontis. So he's got right front damage, broken steering, and that unfortunately steers him into the left-hand side wall. But Pretty looks like he's just being able to manage that gap at the moment back to Fisher, but still plenty of action into turn 9, the hairpin.
Fonzie Mullen had it dancing around under brakes at turn 9, but Pretty's on course here. If he can stay up front, he'll win the round, and that would give Holden its 8th round win in Utes compared to Ford's 5. So last year, much was made of the parity debate and that the Falcons were a bit too fast. Certainly at this round last year, they had a real advantage, but I reckon they've got it right. It's a good blend at the front between Holden and Ford.
Well, we haven't heard the word parity really being spoken about it, apart from just then, Nunes.
We just did say
so,
it, but anyway.
We've got, like you said, great mix of Ford and Holden up the front of the field. And really, Nathan Pretty, he's doing a great job. He's been quick all weekend. Back on board now with Barber through the turn 1 and 2 centre chicane. Great part of this circuit. On the run now up to turn 4. Bumpy under brakes, so easy to get the car unsettled. Use a bit of the apex curb.
And this was the Rare Spares replay of the champ, Ryle Harris. Have a look at this. Car 1 just scrapes the fence.
I think that might have been a bit of a pucker moment for him there.
Got away with it though. The reigning champ continues on. He put together this deal very last minute. Really wasn't very positive about being back on the V8 Utes grid this year, but he's here and he's running and he's in the front couple of runners. But Nathan Pretty, they don't have an answer at the moment for the former Bathurst 24-hour victor. Have a look behind at some of the moves that go on here to turn 9. It's all about, we call it the dive bomb. Up the inside, jamming on the brakes, And the other bloke makes his own arrangements.
And Harris just pulled off the textbook move into turn 9, then up the inside of fellow Ford driver Chris Walton, who's so far been pretty tame in this race.
He's used up his action quota in race 2, that's why. We jump aboard the Redco Ford, the NZ car looking ahead at Royal Harris, who, remember, claimed the championship last year, his first V8U crown on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. We end one year with a street track. We start another with the traditional opener here on the streets of Adelaide, the Clipsal 500. But the man they are chasing, its half-race distance, is Nathan Pretty. He leads the way. The Milwaukee Commodore is looking strong. We'll run to the line when we come back. Welcome back. It's the final race in the opening round of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Cam Wilson needs protecting. He's spun at the hairpin and is going to just try to back it up and roll out of the way, and gets out of there just in the nick of time.
He almost didn't do that very well, Noon, so hopefully we get a replay to see what happened down there at turn 9, whether he was assisted into that spin or whether he just did it on his own. Here we go. Did a lock break.
Bang. Craig Donis trying to take advantage of that lock-up for the big gun Falcon driver. The rookie, one of 7 in the field this weekend, pretty much a quarter of the field. Welcome to Ute Racing. Wow.
So Cam, he just ran wide there, and
that's David Cedars brushing the fence. Those concrete blocks weigh a couple of tonne each. A V8 Ute weighs nearly 2 tonne.
Oh, have a look at that.
But I think concrete will win every time.
But look at Pretty. He is definitely cleared out on the field. If things stay the same, this race is definitely a battle for second, with Fisher still copping plenty of pressure from McNally in the Stratco Commodore. But Cedars, after we saw him scraping the wall at turn 8, he's up the inside into turn 9, on the march forward, past his teammate Charlie O'Brien, who's much experienced in motor racing in general, but coming back for another season in V8 Utes.
He's been in and out of the Utes a couple of times over the last few years. We just can't keep him away, can he? He's back in and among it, and he was here for the first Adelaide Grand Prix in 1985 in the Group A touring car race. How about that? Cedars was out of control, having his own problem. Charlie got it sideways and whacked him one while he was trying to sort it all out.
So the teammates, what is it this weekend? We saw Walton and Hansford get into it in race 2, and now the two-seaters racing team Falcons are getting into it in the third and final race. So no shortage of paddle rubbing this weekend.
You know what I reckon the safest way to run in V8 Ute racing is? Run your own team. No one can then hit you from within. Have a look at this. Cedars was in deep. Charlie was in deeper. Knocks the glass out of the side of the 10 car. What's in the water in Adelaide this weekend? Clearly there's something.
And here we go, moved by Ryan Hansford on Andrew Fisher. Not quite fire enough up the inside, so a bit of contact there, and Fisher does a great job to hold on to that.
So Hansford has to reload, refire, and have another run. He finished 8th in the championship last year. This is a better move. He's in the gap. Yes, that's better.
Cuts him wide a bit, but Hansford through to second now. So Fisher just fading a little bit in the latter half of this race.
Got to say that in the last few years of Ute racing, it's been pretty good. The driving standards certainly were cleaned up. Remember in the early days of when it ran as part of the Pro Car Series, you ran in the series back in 2005. Some of it was real cowboy stuff. I reckon we've just gone a little bit too far back over the line into Crazyville. I think just a few guys need to be settled down. We love the bump, we love the biff, we love a bit of hard racing, but it just gets a little bit too far in that last race. I reckon we need to knock it back just a couple of percent and things are okay.
A little bit of damage to the back of Jesse Dixon's Commodore. He's got that rear bumper bar that's come loose. Craig Dondas now in pit lane, serving a drive-through penalty for that contact with Cam Wilson.
Now, is that justified? Clearly Wilson was in really, really deep, and Donis kind of just finished him off, so it's a bit hard to make that call, but clearly it's been made from race control. Fisher has got the wipers going. He's got Harris trying to go around the outside, which is the inside for the next one. McNally's lined up, Baxter's lined up, and we've only got a couple of laps to go.
So he's definitely come under fire in the latter half of this race, Fisher, losing another position to our reigning series champion, Ryle Harris, and I reckon Reece McNally, he'll want to have a crack at the Jesus Falcon as well.
I reckon the guy who's kicking himself out of all of this is a bit further down the road. Peter Burnett, left front. ripped off.
Well, that's one way to jack up a V8 ute, isn't it?
I don't recommend you do it at your local garage next week, but that is one way to do it. McNally defending from Gary Baxter. Elliot Barber just trying to sneak in there. And the rear bumper's gone from Jesse Dixon's car. He's managed to shake it loose, or...
It's
it's still there. It's still there. There's still an element to it. But he's got Chris Walton behind, and as we saw in race 2, he's willing to assist with panel repairs.
It certainly is. So maybe Jesse might need to back up to Chris Walton and get that rear bar removed. But have a look at Baxter!
How's the slide?
Can you believe it? Into the last corner, backing it in.
Did a great job to hang on to that. Let's have a look at another replay. Peter Manette's joined the Kim Jane Troy Donis Club of rearranging your left front on the Coates Hire tyre bundle.
That's no way to treat a Yokohama Noons.
Well, he's kept it on the ground. It's just that it's the wrong part of it. It's wheel side down rather than wheel side out.
He's actually done a good job to keep it off the fence, unlike what we saw happen to Kim Jane. So lucky not to have a similar incident to that with Peter Burnett. But last lap now, and it's Nathan Pretty. He's got a handy margin out in front, but this little battle pack with Reece McNally, Gary Baxter, our man from race 2, Chris Walton, this is not over.
NZ in-car with the Queenslander as he charges by Jesse Dixon, who slows on the approach to turn 8. And yeah, he's running slowly again. David Cedars will be the next in the queue. Cedars has got to be kicking himself. Fastest car in all 3 races, but doesn't have the championship points to show as he slips by Jesse Dixon, who's got a real problem. Els could make some contact with him as well.
So Dixon has got real dramas. Something's gone wrong with that Commodore, and have a listen to it, running really rough. So he'll be lucky just to get to the finish. But have a look at this. Nathan Pretty into the final corner for the final time, and he's going to take out the opening round. Does a bit of a slide off the final corner. Great job to Pretty.
He takes his second race win from 3 this weekend. Holden Claim, another round win on the streets of Adelaide. Great drive from Ryan Hansford. He made it home to finish in second position. That's a great start for him in terms of the 2013 championship. Jesse Dixon, he's limping. He's limping. He will make it, but he's lost pile of ground on the last lap. He does limp across the line. He finishes way back, 15th. But it's Pretty who takes the win. Harris third from Fisher, Reece McNally, Gary Baxter, Elliot Barber, Walton in 8th, Cedars and Elsgood round out the top 10. Championship points after the opening round, and Pretty holds sway, 19 clear of Fisher. Reece McNally rounds out the podium, but it's tight at the top.
Well, Nathan, your rivals fell away, silly mistakes and penalties, and geez, it's all plain sailing for you.
Yeah, exactly. The old fella didn't do too bad this weekend. So, look, an awesome job for the guys at Milwaukee that are backing us now. They're over the moon and obviously Holden, so it's good to put one against the general.
Time to give out some awards, and the rookie Adam Marjoram picks up the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. He managed to pick his way through the order in race 2. He went from 32nd to 16th, which was a great job. Renko rookie point score, it's a good field this year. Elliot Barber, Jesse Dixon and Cam Wilson are 1, 2, 3. But the Pretty boy, Nathan Pretty, takes round 1. Holden are on top to start 2013. It continues in the West, round 2. Barbagallo Raceway in Perth. Kim Jane won the round last year. He's got some work to do before we go racing on 3 to 5 of May. Thanks for your company today. Thanks to James Moffat and the whole team. We're off and racing in 2013. We'll see you next time.